Hello, my friends. A deck arrived from France yesterday. It's called Tarot de la Bonne Mère and it's by Gabian Spirit. And I got this deck off Etsy. It was, the postage was really quick. I think it was less than a week. So I was quite surprised by that. But yeah, super chuffed. If we look on the back of the packaging, you've got a QR code where you can go to the website and get the notes for the cards with the card meanings and that, and there's a little prayer for each card as well. So this is a saints themed Christian tarot deck. I know some people have asked about Christian tarot decks that aren't just angel themed. Well, this would be in that category for sure. I mean, obviously saints, if you're an evangelical Christian, might not resonate, but then again, probably neither would tarot, so that issue is probably moot. So let's go through all the cards together. And so here we have, let me see, try to get rid of the glare for you, that's better. The Fool, and let me check my notes. I've got some notes here on each of the majors. So this is Saint Roche, and he was a hero during the plague, bubonic plague times in the 1300s. And so I'm looking forward to learning more about him. I really don't know many of these saints at all. And this is Saint John Boscus, I think, Bosco. Saint John Bosco, 19th century saint who worked with street children, and he actually used to perform little magic tricks for them. So that's like a perfect match there. This one I do know, Saint Mary Magdalene as the High Priestess, which obviously I think is a perfect match. Beautiful, beautiful. And then another perfect match here with Saint Mary, Mother Mary as the Empress. I just love this card. And then we've got Saint Joseph as the Emperor. We've got Saint Peter, the Apostle, as the Pope. And he, obviously Jesus told him that he would found his church on this rock, and Petrus means rock in Latin, so hence that correspondence. And then we've got Saint Paul as for the lovers, and he in all his writings is urging us to make a choice and to choose God and to choose love. So I think that's a very good. Oh, and also 1 Corinthians 13. Hello, is there a more beautiful writing about love? And then we have Saint Sarah, and she is the patron saint of the Rome people, and she arrived with Mary Magdalene and some other people on the shores of France, and she's also associated with the goddess Kali, I hear. I don't know much about that though, so that'll be interesting to explore. But she's a dark-skinned goddess and associated with the Black Madonna as well, I think. I don't know. I might be wrong. Anyway, here we've got Saint. Let me check the English name. Saint Antonius, Saint Anthony or Saint Antonius, 14th century saint who helped girls who were without a dowry. And back in the day, their only option would be to become prostitutes or beggars. And so he helped them escape that horrible fate. So that's a good match for justice. And obviously, this is a Marseille style deck. We've got justice as number 8. Then we've got the Hermit. And this is Saint Jerome. And he is the patron saint of translators, so that's a good one for me to remember because I do translations of languages as well as tarot symbols. And here we've got Saint Catherine of Alexandria, and obviously the Wheel of Fortune here represents the Catherine wheel that she was tortured with, which is really horrid to even think about. But she's a 3rd century saint. And here we have Saint Blandina, and she's also a 3rd century saint, and she was tortured to death in the circus as entertainment. Really sad. There was a lot of persecution in 3rd century France of Christians. But apparently the lion that was supposed to be gobbling her up, came and lay down at her feet. So that didn't work. So they found another way of killing her eventually, unfortunately. And then we've got, sorry about that. Yes, I have dogs. Now everybody knows. Thank you, Nim. That's my little Jack Russell Shih Tzu cross. Sorry. Anyway, so the Hanged Man, here we have St. James, and he's rescuing a hanging victim who was strung up during a pilgrimage to Compostela. And so he had a miraculous recovery. The legend says he was hung up for 26 days. So I don't know much about that, but that was an interesting little story. And then we've got Saint Mary the Egyptian. So she was this Egyptian prostitute who went on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, and she tried to enter the church there, but there was a force holding her back. And it wasn't until she turned to an icon of Mary and asked her to intercede on her behalf that she was able to enter. And then, after receiving Holy Communion, she fled to the desert, or she was instructed by the Holy Spirit to go to the desert, or by Mary, I think it was actually, to go to the desert and lead out the rest of her life there. And that's what she did. So had this radical transformation, and her remains were found in the desert. That's why she's shown here as a skeleton, because basically that's how she was found 47 years later. Then we've got Temperance, and this is Saint Catherine of Alexandria. No, this is Saint Catherine of Siena, not Alexandria, that was the other one. 14th century saint, who is known as a doctor of the church. She did very important diplomatic work. She was an ambassador for the church, and a very bright lady. So, but that's pretty much all I know about her. Then we've got the devil. This was an interesting little story. Saint George, who slayed the dragon. Well, he slayed this serpent fella. It wasn't actually, it was a man and not an actual dragon, but he was known as Nather, which means serpent, and he was the chief of a band of looters. And so St. George was a 4th century Roman captain, I think he was. Let me see, officer anyway, and a Christian, obviously. And so he helped liberate this town of this band of looters, and they all came to Christ thanks to him. And then for the tower, La Maison Dieu, we have Saint Camille de l'Hélice, probably butchering that, and my French isn't very good. He was a 16th century saint, and he was another one of those saints who had a radical transformation story. He was quite violent and prone to gambling in his youth, but then he started caring for the sick, and eventually he became a priest, and all his life he continued to care for those who were sick and in need of help, even though he himself was quite greatly afflicted. So he died at the age of 67. I seem to remember random facts here as I go along. And this, number 17, the star, we have Saint Anthony of Padua, 13th century saint. He's very famous because a lot of people invoke him to help them find lost items. And so what he actually found back in the day was a stolen manuscript which he retrieved. And then we have, let's see, the moon. And for the moon we have Saint Francis of Assisi. And the correspondence there is that he liked to contemplate the hidden mysteries of creation. And obviously the moon deals with everything hidden in life. And then we have this lovely saint, Saint Rita, and she is a great match with the sun because her faith was so strong. She never stopped interceding on behalf of others, expecting the very best outcome for them. And she had this indomitable will to remain joyful in the face of adversity. So, yay, Rita. And then we have, let's see, we have Saint John of Matha, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, so Judgment. So we have, oh yes, 12th century saint, and he was famous for freeing lots of slaves. So that's what he dedicated a big portion of his life to. And then finally, for the world, we have the evangelists. And obviously that's Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. So the 4 evangelists, and they're depicted in their human form here rather than as animals. Or, well, Matthew is always a man, a winged man, but the others are, John is an eagle, and Luke is a bull, and Mark is a lion. Anyway, so I'm not going to go through the minors here. I'm just going to quickly show you. These are the ones. They're called pilgrimages. And you've got saints as all the court cards there as well. Then you've got the chalices, the cups. And you've got, again, saints as court cards. And then you've got combats or fights. And that's the swords. With saints in the court cards again, so more saints to get to know, yay. And then we've got the hosts, and then we've got some more. Saint Barbara, it was her feast day the other day, so I got to know her a little bit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick walkthrough of the beautiful Tarot de la Bonne Mère, and I will see you soon. Bye.